So, as all of you are probably aware, there was a massive leak at Insomniac, which is one of PlayStation's first-party studios, and a lot, and I mean a lot of shit got leaked, including footage of Wolverine, the upcoming Wolverine game, but not just footage of the game. The dev build of the game leaked onto PC and is now playable on PC. Now, real quick, I know there's a lot of people talking about if it's morally correct to talk about the leaks or not. Personally, I think it's perfectly fine to talk about the video game shit that got leaked and like marketing strategies and stuff. That part is fine, as long as you're like not spreading the personal information of devs that got leaked. I don't see a problem with it. Now, anyway, like I said before, Wolverine, the dev build of Wolverine, is now playable for anyone on PC. You just have to download it, obviously. And that's not the only thing we learned from the leaks. We also learned that Wolverine was gonna come day one, I believe, to PC anyway. And I found this pretty funny tweet that just kind of summed it up for me. Insomniac already working on PC version of Wolverine, and some PC gamers are playing the early build now, so Wolverine is basically a timed PC exclusive. And the funny thing here is this is technically true. The game isn't on PlayStation yet, but it is playable on PC, so technically, by that definition, it is a timed PC exclusive. And this is just made all the more funny with the knowledge that for the past 2 years, PlayStation fanboys have been saying, "Oh, we're getting Wolverine. You guys aren't getting Wolverine. You guys suck. We're gonna play Wolverine." It's like, not only is the game already slated to come to PC when it eventually releases in its entirety, but the dev build, the only way to play Wolverine right now is on PC. That is just so fucking funny to me. Obviously, however, this is not funny to PlayStation fanboys, and they are very, very angry about it.
Insomniac seeing stinky PC gamers playing Wolverine before PS5 players can get their hands on it.
Nah, I think that's just you. I think it's just you. I don't think... obviously, I think Insomniac isn't very happy that their dev build is out there and people can play it, and modders are actually like fixing the bugs and fixing the dev build up a bit so that it's far more playable. Obviously, they're not happy about that, but I don't think they care that it's PC players specifically who can play it before the PlayStation players, especially since, you know, PC gamers were gonna get the game anyway. I think it's just you who is incredibly salty that you spent years bragging about the fact that you were gonna have this game and other people weren't, and then the people you were bragging to get the game, but you don't.
A playable build of Marvel's Wolverine has leaked. Can easily tell who has room temperature IQ by seeing who downloads an unfinished game released by a ransomware group.
Yeah, the people who are like modding this game and debugging it, they definitely have room temperature IQ, and they wouldn't check for something like viruses and malware because they're just that fucking stupid, apparently. That obviously isn't true, let's be honest. You're just kind of salty that other people get to play this game, and you don't. Now, if you're watching this video and you want to play Wolverine, still, word of caution, there are people that could be putting malware into the files and then spreading the link again. So don't just download it without checking where it came from and if it's safe. But this notion that just downloading it by default means you have room temperature IQ because it was released by a ransomware group, like at that point you could say downloading any of the leaks, right? Any of it, any of the over a terabyte of sensitive data is stupid and dangerous because they could have put a virus in all of it, you know? And obviously up until now I haven't heard any reports of that happening. Still, like, again, be careful, guys. Be fucking careful, okay? This shit is also illegal, so, like, if Insomniac found out that you had this on your computer, because you might have to connect to their servers to play the game, you know, they're gonna call it police.
Me if Insomniac cancels Wolverine after gamers are playing it on PC already.
Now, this isn't as much of a PlayStation fanboy thing, but a lot of people, just normal fans who want to play this game, are pretty scared that the game is now going to be cancelled because it's leaked on PC, and apparently previous games where that has happened to have been cancelled. The only instance I know of that happening is Half-Life 2, and they finished that game. So has this hindered development? Maybe it could be that like the team is feeling demotivated now, or they don't really want to continue on the game or whatever, right? But I doubt a game as big as this You know, especially since they have a contract with Marvel. They're not just gonna like drop it. They're gonna have to keep making the game. And now I want to get to a whole different part of this Wolverine thing. And that's the fact that people who saw the footage, I'm obviously not gonna show the footage because I don't want to get nuked by Sony. But people who saw the footage thought it was boring. It was boring. I saw it. I thought it was boring. But a lot of people after seeing the footage thought it looked pretty boring, you know, me included, and that also pissed off PlayStation fanboys because you dared call their game boring, you know what I mean?
Wolverine leak looks like God of War Uncharted. Wolverine leak looks like two of the greatest modern games ever made. Bro just compared Wolverine to two 10 out of 10 games like it's a bad thing.
Yeah, and this is exactly my problem with the gameplay I saw. It looked like God of War Uncharted. And these people can say like, oh, those are the best modern video games, which it's not true. I mean, you can think that, it can be your opinion, but they're so fucking basic and boring to me that I really cannot even consider them in the top fucking 50 best modern games. Like, this game does not look original at all. It does look like a God of War Uncharted. This game is basically the same as Spider-Man, but you're playing as Wolverine instead of Spider-Man. And Spider-Man is essentially just Arkham Knight. This is Arkham Knight again. Arkham Knight came out in 2015. Can we stop making Arkham Knight?
It looks like Spider-Man 2, but with Wolverine. It's a Wolverine game that has melee combat in third person. Were you expecting a FPS or racing gameplay?
Nah, I don't know, maybe I was expecting something new or interesting or different, you know, and not just the same shit over and over and over again, because that's what this is. Spider-Man, the first one, don't get me wrong, these are good games, right? I'm sure Wolverine's going to be good and fun, but it's just not original. It's not original, it's not creative, it's not something I'm gonna play because I've played games like this before that have probably been better. Or just, this game innovates but doesn't innovate enough for me to care. Like, when I played Spider-Man, right, the web slinging mechanic is cool. Don't get me wrong, it's very cool. It's the only part of the game that was cool to me though, and I never finished playing the game because the rest of the game just felt like Arkham Knight or other games I'd already played. I'm not saying every game needs to be the most original new thing ever, but like this third person action game with like stealth elements and shit like that, Sony does this with every single game. They even take other franchises like God of War, which are very creative and kind of unique, right? And then they force them to kind of devolve into also being this third person cinematic type game. I don't want that. I want new shit, okay? The reason I'm getting sick of games like this isn't because they're bad, it's just because there's so fucking many of them, and they're not creative or good enough to keep my interest. Like, for example, there are lots and lots and lots of 3D platforms, especially made in the 90s, but a lot of them are very different from each other and very unique, and that's what makes them fun to play. Like, when you play Voodoo Vince, for example, it's not the same as Mario. Right? Like, not even remotely. Yet they're both 3D platformers.
Hating gameplay because it resembles God of War 2018, but praising gameplay that resembles God of War 2005 is an insane take.
How? They're two completely different styles of gameplay. It makes sense to prefer one over the other.
Because 2018 is an evolution of the 2005 combat. Also because the guy is mocking someone praising God of War combat while using a game that resembles a version of God of War combat.
See, here's the problem. This guy, Mighty Keith, who definitely is not a PlayStation fanboy, guys. He's not a PlayStation fanboy, even though he hates on Xbox and loves everything Sony does. And even in his video about Horizon Zero Dawn, said that the best thing about the game was that it was exclusive to the PS4. But he's definitely not a fanboy. This is a problem. He doesn't really understand games like this, or just games in general, if he thinks shit like this. God of War 2018 is not an evolution of the combat of God of War original trilogy, right? It just is not. They basically took the original God of War gameplay and combat and tried to morph it in a way that would fit the third-person cinematic cutscene formula that Sony has on basically all of their first-party games. It is not an evolution of old hack-and-slash combat. If you want to see an evolution of that, you should look at other hack-and-slash games that stay true to, you know, their core, like Devil May Cry or Bayonetta, not God of War 2018. It is very, very different from the original trilogy, not because it evolved, but because it was morphed to be basically a different genre. And in my opinion, and the opinion of a lot of other people, because I'm not the only one complaining about this obviously, it is far more boring and far less original and creative than the original trilogy was. Now anyway boys, I think I'm gonna end the video here. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.